The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. What if I told you the most powerful people in history didn't win with strength, money, or status? They won with attraction? Not just romantic attraction, but the kind that pulls people in, makes them trust you, follow you, even admire you without realizing why. Sounds crazy, right? Well, according to Robert Greene, seduction isn't about looks. It's about psychology. And today, we're breaking down the hidden strategies from the Art of Seduction. But here's the twist. Near the end of this video, I'm going to reveal one dangerous secret from this book, a rule so powerful that once you understand it, you'll start noticing it everywhere, in celebrities, politicians, influencers, even in people around you. So stick around, because missing that final insight will make the whole story incomplete. Now let's begin. Imagine two people walking into a room. The first person tries too hard, talking loudly, bragging, trying to impress everyone. The second person? Quiet, calm, mysterious. They don't chase attention. Attention chases them. And weirdly enough, everyone in the room starts wondering about that second person. Who are they? Why are they so confident? Why do they seem different? That is the beginning of seduction. Robert Greene explains something fascinating. People don't fall under someone's influence because of logic. They fall because of emotion. Because deep inside, humans crave excitement, mystery, and validation. And the people who understand this know how to subtly control attention. Greene introduces the idea that seduction is actually a game of psychology. Not manipulation in the evil sense, but the ability to create emotional pull. Think about some of the most magnetic people in history. Cleopatra, Marilyn Monroe, Casanova. They weren't powerful because they forced people. They were powerful because people wanted to be around them. That's the difference. Force creates resistance, but attraction creates curiosity, and curiosity is incredibly powerful. Let's talk about the first principle. Create mystery. People value what they can't fully understand. When someone reveals everything about themselves immediately, the intrigue disappears. But when someone leaves a little uncertainty, when their personality feels layered, people lean closer. They start paying attention. It's human nature. Think about your favorite movie or TV series. If you already knew every twist from the start, would you keep watching? Of course not. Mystery keeps the brain engaged, and seductive personalities know exactly how to maintain that mystery. The second principle is emotional impact. Most people communicate with logic, facts, arguments. But emotions are what actually move people. When someone makes you feel something, excitement, curiosity, comfort, you remember them. Greene says seducers are masters of emotional experience. They don't just talk to people, they create moments that feel different from ordinary life. Because the truth is, people get bored easily. Routine kills attraction. But when someone introduces novelty, adventure, unexpected energy, they become unforgettable. Now here's where things get interesting. Greene describes different types of seductive personalities. One of them is called the charmer. The charmer doesn't dominate people, they do the opposite. They make others feel important, valued, special. Instead of trying to shine themselves, they reflect the spotlight onto others. And guess what happens? People naturally start liking them. Why? Because humans love people who make them feel good about themselves. It's subtle, but incredibly effective. Another type is the coquette. This personality understands something powerful. Desire grows with uncertainty. They give attention, then pull back. They create excitement, then distance. It's not manipulation for the sake of cruelty. It's about maintaining tension. Because when something feels slightly out of reach, the brain becomes obsessed with it. You start thinking about it more, wondering about it, chasing it. This is why unpredictability can be so captivating. But Greene also warns about something important. Seduction can be used in positive ways or destructive ones. Because when you understand human psychology deeply, You gain influence, and influence is powerful. Some people use it to inspire, others use it to control. That's why awareness matters. When you recognize these patterns, you stop being blindly affected by them. Instead, you understand what's happening beneath the surface. Another key lesson from the book is confidence through self-control. Real seductive energy isn't loud. It's calm, controlled. Think about the people who seem effortlessly magnetic. They aren't desperate for approval. They're comfortable with themselves. That quiet confidence creates a powerful signal. It tells people, I don't need attention, but if you're here, you're welcome. And ironically, that attitude attracts more attention than trying too hard ever could. Now let's talk about a subtle trick Greene highlights. Create fantasy. People escape reality through imagination. Movies, stories, music. And seductive personalities often tap into this same idea. They make interactions feel a little more exciting, a little more cinematic. Instead of ordinary conversation, they create emotional experiences. This is why storytelling is so powerful. Stories trigger imagination, and imagination is one of the strongest forces in human psychology. But here's something many people misunderstand. Seduction isn't about controlling others. At its core, it's about understanding human desire. People want excitement, recognition, mystery, connection. When someone naturally provides those feelings, attraction happens almost automatically. And that's the real insight Greene is pointing toward. Now remember the secret I mentioned at the beginning? The one that explains why some people seem almost hypnotically attractive? Here it is. The most powerful seduction strategy isn't beauty or clever words or even confidence. It's self-mastery. When someone fully understands themselves, controls their emotions, and moves through the world with calm purpose, people sense it. They can't always explain it, but they feel it, and that feeling draws them closer. But there's one final twist Robert Greene hints at. Something most people overlook. Sometimes the most seductive move is walking away. Because the moment you stop chasing approval, the moment you become comfortable standing on your own, you create something incredibly rare. Independence. And independence is magnetic. So the real question isn't, how do you seduce people? The real question is, how do you become someone naturally intriguing, someone confident, someone emotionally aware, someone who creates curiosity instead of begging for attention? Because once you understand that, you'll start seeing the patterns of influence everywhere, in social media, in politics, in celebrities, in everyday life. And that awareness alone might just change how you see people forever. And maybe that's the biggest lesson from The Art of Seduction. The game of attraction isn't about tricks, it's about human psychology. And once you truly understand that, you're no longer just reacting to influence, you're seeing it everywhere. If you enjoyed this breakdown, just remember, this book contains many more psychological patterns, some inspiring, some dangerous. And the more you study human behavior, the more you realize people are far more predictable than they appear. But that is a story for another video.